Good evening and welcome to Midnight Movie Club. In tonight's video we'll be discussing A Quiet Place Part 2. So right out of nowhere some hours ago now, we got our first look at A Quiet Place Part 2 with a short teaser trailer. We also got a synopsis and a poster along with it, so I thought since A Quiet Place was quite big on the channel here, I would cover Part 2. So let's get into it. First up, let's go over the teaser trailer. In the short clip we see Evelyn, Reagan and Marcus walking the sand trails that we seen in the first film that were made by Lee. We also catch a glimpse of the crib that was made for the baby, or a crib has been pretty kind, it's a box you can breathe in, a soundproof box for the baby that they are carrying in between them. Another thing we can see is that Evelyn's foot is bandaged up from where she stood on the nail in the first film, so they are doing great at keeping up the continuity here, and that also tells us that this is right after the events of the first, as she hasn't given it time to heal yet. So as we see them come to the end of the sand path, Evelyn turns to Reagan, who is holding a map which has some red circles on it. There are some with crosses through them and a couple that don't have crosses through them. I'm guessing that these circles are the other fireplaces we seen in the first film when Lee is sitting on top of the silo looking out for the others. I can't remember how many fires there were in the first, but here there are 6 circles, 2 that aren't crossed out. Possibly the only 2 fires that remain, which tells us that all these other camps have been attacked. That's what I'm theorising anyway. Possibly Evelyn and the kids are looking to get to one of these areas that aren't crossed out and meet up with other survivors to try and establish some sort of community. As Evelyn looks back at Reagan, she nods as in, we need to go on, and she takes her first step off the sand path. There is a crunch of leaves and that's it. All in all, I thought it was a pretty cool teaser trailer and would honestly not mind if it was the only trailer. It did raise a few questions for me though, and one of them was, why would they leave their own farm? The first film ended with them killing one of the creatures in the area, with another 2 running to the house on the cameras as Evelyn cocks the shotgun ready for a fight. Did they kill those 2 monsters, but in doing so they somehow wrecked the house and that's why they have to leave? Also, I really do hope we see them take on those other 2 creatures. It would be awesome if part 2 started right from the shotgun being cocked. Let me know in the comments why you think they are leaving their farm and heading out looking for others. I get that they need to do supply runs, but I just don't think you would take a baby on supply runs. This for sure looks like they are moving. Anyway, now let's move on to the synopsis, and while I go over it, I will keep the new poster up for you to have a look at. In the poster you can see them approaching a new area, and I am pretty sure that this is where they will be heading to with their map. It looks like a mining facility of some sort, and this is probably where we will meet Kelly Murphy's character, along with all the other new characters. Anyway, the synopsis reads as follows. The sequel picks up right after the events of A Quiet Place. Evelyn Abbott and her children Reagan and Marcus, along with a new baby, must now face the terrors of the outside world as they continue their fight for survival in silence. Forced to venture into the unknown, they quickly realise that the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats that lurk beyond the sand path. So a couple of things to pick out and talk about from this synopsis. First, it states that they are forced to venture out into the unknown. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it is that forces them to leave their farm. Is it the 2 creatures they had to face at the end of the first film that have ruined their nice little setup? Or did more creatures appear in the area? Or, third theory, did other survivors come and take over their settlement? And this is a nice segue into the second talking point from this synopsis, as it states, the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threat. This is where I start to get worried and I start having flashbacks to The Walking Dead. Is part 2 going to go the route that people are more monstrous than the monsters? I really hope the film doesn't, but I can see that happening. Either they are forced to leave their settlement by people, or the new settlement they end up at may harbour people who become a threat. I can just see a sort of saviour situation like The Walking Dead. Now, don't get me wrong, The Walking Dead was great for a time, but it got far too stale and went on for far too long. Now, we won't have that problem here with the film, where it will only run for 90 to 120 minutes, something around that. But at the same time, the fascination with A Quiet Place when the first film's trailer dropped was, what were these monsters? What was lurking in the dark, hunting by sound? If the monsters take a back seat to villain human characters, I feel like it will just fall a bit flat and lose the edge that it had. I did wonder if A Quiet Place was a one-trick pony when I first heard about this sequel, but I really hope that it isn't. Anyway, we will find out on New Year's Day when we get the full trailer that drops then, and I'll speak about it again there with my breakdown. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed this video then give it a like. Also, if you haven't already, then subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you very much for watching, and good night.